How's it gonna go? Just question answer.
Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome. Afternoon here in Ireland. Good evening to Sami in Abu Dhabi. How are you, Sami?
Hi, Justin.
How are you?
Doing well.
Great.
Good. Had some technical issues logging in,
Okay.
but finally made it.
Good. So another fun day in the world of feet in Abu Dhabi.
Yeah, it was good. It was a good day. Light morning clinic. Um, Thursdays are usually half days for us, so I enjoyed that.
Yeah, you're off on Friday.
Yes, we're off on Friday, half day Thursday. We work Saturday.
Okay. And how's things there at the moment? Because as you're possibly aware, we're coming back into more restrictive practices and more restrictions here in Ireland than in the UK. So
Yeah, I heard. No, here we are living with it. We with restrictions, masks, social distancing, washing hands, etc., and reducing number of patients and having waiting rooms organized, and so no one is waiting, patients walking in. But we there are no lockdowns for now, like we had in March and April. So we're plugging along. Hopefully, we continue to do so.
we've had all that here on the face masks and hand washing and restricted patients and everything like that. But unfortunately, we're back into lockdown again from Friday.
Yeah, that's always
So
disappointing, but sometimes I guess it has to be done.
yeah, well, we'll see. We'll see what's happening. So the so you've got a quite an interesting backstory. You're originally from Tripoli in Libya.
Yeah,
Trained and lived and worked and trained in the States in New York, and then in Abu Dhabi or UAE for the last about 15 years or so. So
18. Yeah, 18 years.
15 years. Okay. So tell us a bit more about that journey. How did you end up with feet?
I left Libya as a teenager
Yeah.
and ended up in New York City. Finished my high school and went into college. And in college, ended up in when I finished college, ended up in podiatry school at the New York College of Podiatric Medicine.
Yeah.
I qualified 1995. That makes me quite old. Uh,
Oh, by 1992, so it makes me even older.
it's not
It's always,
not too big a
which is always very strange, and sure you have your younger podiatrists or your podiatry students who you meet who are all born after we qualified. Makes me feel makes me feel very
Indeed,
old.
indeed, yeah. But
And
it's good. That's good. Not bad.
and
Yeah.
did you
And then I did
practice?
a 2 year surgical residency in New Jersey,
Yeah.
um, and then practiced for a few years in the U.S. and then ended up back in the Middle East. Always wanted to. As a matter of fact, that was one of the motivation for me to go into podiatry. Is that it is so unheard of, and I thought I would be such a wanted commodity, such a unique concept to bring it back. So I always wanted to come back, and the
Yeah.
UAE, Dubai, and Abu Dhabi were the ideal destination.
Yeah. And yeah, so you wanted to get back to sort of like normal. As you said, you saw me trying to sea swim earlier on. It's a little bit chilly. I'm going to have to dig out my wetsuit. I think the water temperature is about 13, 14 degrees here at the moment. So it's definitely got a lot colder since I swam. Certainly last week, last Saturday, I think was the last time I was in. It's absolutely freezing today. Beautiful day. You don't have that problem in Abu Dhabi.
No, our water temperature right now is around 30, so it's not bad at all.
So that's like when I go to Ibiza or in the
Yeah, yeah,
Mediterranean.
yeah,
That was
yeah.
invented for. And yeah, because I was planning, I had planned, I think I said maybe to come out to Dubai because I had some friends. My cousin, hi Claire, if you're listening and watching, my cousin Claire is expecting her second baby, beginning of December, so she can't wait.
She
Uh,
lives in Dubai.
yeah, she's lived there for about 15, 18 years. She's very finance and commercial property and real estate. So businesses are booming, apparently. She's traveled all over the world normally. So Claire's very busy. Unlike my friend Ramesh, who works through Dubai Duty Free. Hi, Ramesh, if you're watching. Things are obviously a little bit strange in Dubai Duty Free at the moment. Nobody's flying, really. There's a lot of restrictions. So
yeah, the airline industry has taken a big hit with this pandemic, definitely.
Yeah. So Ramesh is very involved with Dubai Duty Free. Of course, he comes to Ireland quite regularly for the golf and for the horse racing that they sponsor here. And you never know. Next year he might sponsor some sailing, perhaps, because you're aware of the there's a UK organization called Forgotten Feet, the forgottenfeet.org, and they're a charitable podiatry organization, looks after homeless and vulnerable people. So next May, they're having a fundraising. Well, they're having a cycle from the full length of the British Isles, from Land's End to John O'Groats, at 909 days. I've decided we're going to sail it instead, so we can race them sailing the same, a route up the Irish Sea, up around from Land's End, the bottom of England, to the north, John O'Groats, the north of Scotland. So anybody out there, we're looking for sponsorship for. Do you sail, Sami?
No. My only experience with sailing is I remember for a few years watching the America's Cup, and I was really fascinated by the battles between the Australians and the Americans, and but I haven't heard of it. It died down recently. I haven't heard of it recently. It used to be big in the late 90s, early 2000s. America's Cup.
In sailing world, it's still big. They just unveiled the boats last week or 2 weeks ago. They're back in New Zealand again.
Is that right?
Yeah, the new American boats, and the boats are quite different from the last ones, which came up out of the water in foil. These ones are like more a classic monohull, but they have those extension arms on them. So yeah, pretty amazing technology. And then also in a couple of weeks, the Vendée Globe starts, which is a single-handed around the world on your own. It starts in 2 or 3 weeks from France. So sailing world, there's still quite a lot going on. World Cup skiing starts next week in Kitzbühel, I believe, or somewhere in Austria. They're all going to ski as normal. World Championships are starting. The football's on, the rugby's on. I mean, the interesting thing was that in New Zealand last week, in Wellington, New Zealand and Australia played, and there was 40 or 50,000 people in the stadium. I saw the photo. Yeah, I saw that. No social distancing. Business is normal there, apparently. So,
but they are shut down. No one can enter or leave the country. No.
I think there were a lot of Australians there for the rugby. I'm not exactly sure whether they could travel, whether it was just exclusively if in New Zealand.
I know. An Australian patient of mine told me to go back to Australia. You're only allowed to go back if you are repatriating.
Okay. Yeah, I know a friend in China. I mean, he's taking an eternal flight at the moment in China. So there's no international travel into China, but apparently travel within China is up about 30% on last year, internal stuff. But yeah, back to normal in New Zealand for sport. So different here, but World Cup skiing, all the stuff, the cricket's on, all sorts of things. Of course, the American football's on. So you're a Giants fan.
Yeah, New York sports is going through a very rough period. Both Giants and the Jets are 0-5, winless teams. Yankees just got eliminated. Mets never made the playoffs.
Go Bears. We're 4-1.
Sorry,
I'm a Bears fan, so we're 4-1. Yeah, so because when we had 4 TV channels here in where we lived back in the 80s, Channel 4 showed live American football. So it was William Perry and your guy McMahon won the Super Bowl, I think 85. So I'm a Bears fan. And
the Bears caught a break a couple of weeks ago when Mitch Trubisky, their star quarterback, got hurt. That was a break. Now they have Nick Foles.
Nick Foles. I'm not allowed to say what they call him, his nickname.
Yes.
Is doing the business. And the last couple of weeks they have, they've left it to the last couple of plays. But yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
Nick is absolutely well. Trubisky was doing pretty well, but Nick and that was.
Well, I'm not
But
sure.
like Nick Foles is, he won. He's a Super Bowl winning quarterback. I mean,
Yeah, he was in Philadelphia. Yeah.
yeah.
He always does well when he replaces someone. But when they gave him a starting job in Jacksonville, he was horrible.
Okay. Well, this year's going so far as well. So far so good.
Yeah.
Uh, who are you playing this weekend?
The Jets or the Giants, I have no idea. At 0-5, I have no interest. I don't want to know who they're playing. I am not watching. It's
Well, the
it's
season's
it's
not over
horrible.
yet. And there's
Sorry.
baseball. Baseball has what's happening in the baseball?
It's in the ALCS and the NLCS. So the Astros, Houston Astros are down 3-1 to the Tampa Bay Rays in the American League, and Atlanta Braves are up 2 games to 1 on the Dodgers in the National League. So it's almost coming up to the World Series next week. But it may be the most boring World Series ever between Tampa Bay and Atlanta. No one is going to want to watch that.
Well,
Hopefully, no one from those two
a
cities
lot of
are watching.
a lot of people would say that about baseball anyway, but not me. I like baseball. I've been to I went to Philadelphia years ago. My first
Okay.
experience of big city, and I've been to the Yankees, and I've been to, and then a couple of years ago, well, you said about the Super Bowl winning. I was in Denver for a game. The Broncos played San Francisco. Well, Kaepernick was still
Oh,
playing when Manning threw the 408.
oh,
Yeah, that was
okay.
quite an experience. That's coming up. So the World Series was on at the same time. So that's coming up on 4 years maybe. Ago World Series. Can't even remember who played, but yeah, it was a great experience, especially the to go and see a game live. I mean, I've been to Dublin for some of the college games with my kids. The college teams come regularly to Ireland and play.
Oh, I
But
didn't know that. Really?
yeah, yeah,
American college football teams? I didn't
yeah,
know that.
we had who are the ones who are dressed like bees or wasps? The Hornets. Somebody Hornets were playing, and then we've had Old Navy here and stuff. Yeah, they're scheduled one for next year. Uh, every 2 or 3 years, they've played. So I had the kids there 2 years ago, but I went. Yeah, so the full razzmatazz, skydivers, hand on heart, Star Spangled Banner, Charger running up and down,
Oh,
the 408 pass, and yeah, it was great. Full on Americana. It was fantastic.
yeah,
So
yeah, yeah.
the and the World Series was on at the same time. So yeah, there's
If,
always
2000, if it was 2015, it would have been the Mets. The Mets were in the World Series then. 2015.
yeah
2016, I don't remember.
yeah. Well, baseball. It's it's not quite as long and dull as cricket. No, I like cricket, which is a 5-day game, but
I like cricket as well. Since I moved back to this part of the world, I've gotten interest in cricket as well.
yeah,
Like the Ashes, I watch the Ashes. The World Cup. Whenever the World Cup comes up with the
2020,
20 not innings. What do they call them? 20.
2020. Yeah, it's a lot more exciting, a lot more fast
Yeah,
paced.
yeah, fascinating. Yeah.
And do you have you treated many baseball, football stars, sports guys, any sport specific injuries? Well, I've got to relate some of this to feet.
Do we have to?
I've treated a few cricket players. I have a physio friend who, hello, Stuart Osborne, who was one of the English county cricket physios for 15, 20 years. Quite a nice job, sitting around watching cricket all day, keeping guys
Yeah.
up.
I had a fascinating case where a guy comes in and says, my nail has been bruising for the last 8 years, and I've had fungal cultures, and I've had oral antifungals, and I've had what else did he have suggested? X-rays, MRIs, looking for subungular cystosis, and no one asked him why would your nail? What do you do? And he was a squash player, and he lunges with his right foot. And for 8 years, someone removed his nail. No
Really?
one figured out to stop the injury. So he started by saying, my nail keeps getting bruised for 8 years. And he saw podiatrists, he saw orthopedists, and no one figured out. He didn't know, he's a layman. He didn't know that you need to have an injury for the bruising unless you have a coagulopathy for the nail to be just
Yeah.
bleeding underneath. And it was fascinating. And squash injuries to the nails, I'm sure you're familiar, squash with the sudden stopping. So it was fascinating that for 8 years, no one asked him. And he doesn't give up the information quickly. When you tell him, what do you do? He goes, I run. Then when you pry into it, and sometimes patients make it hard, they don't give you the critical piece of information.
Of course, that's all billable. Fungal swabs, MRI, CT scans. I mean, it's all billable. Let's start with this. But of course, let's keep it simple, stupid, from the start.
Yeah,
It's like it looks like a duck and it walks like a duck and it quacks like a duck. It's until proven otherwise. Yeah,
what kills me is when professionals offer removing the nail, and they tell the patient that you're going to get a brand new nail and the bruising is going to stop. Now, where is this person trained? What is the thinking? How is removing the nail going to solve the problem? But he had it done twice. He had the nail.
Yeah, it didn't work the first time, so let's do it again and again.
Yeah.
It's some stuff. I mean, I've had guys coming in, with like lesions on the bottom of their foot. Again, just keep it simple. Let me see your shoes. Oh, it's that hole in it or that nail that's come through is the reason why you've got the problem. Nothing anything too complicated. Oh, let's pull the nail out. Oh, that feels better. Keep it simple.
Yeah.
Well, of course, that only comes with experience, Sami, doesn't it? I mean, that's in one of my biomechanics courses that we're going to be running at the moment. It's going to be sort of advanced clinical thinking, which is that clinical reasoning that you or I, with coming up on 30 years qualified now, will just automatically do. Just sequences through. That's, of course, what takes just experience to get in practice, to know what questions to ask and what direction to move when you get the information from it. Just comes with experience, though, doesn't it? You can't teach it. Well, you little bit.
Yeah, absolutely. When is that biomechanics course?
We're going to be running that in the next before the end of October. We just had the guys who are doing the e-learning side of things and the integrated coursework and video and stuff. They're being a little bit slow. They've had a lot on, because obviously everybody's transferring over onto e-learning, but it's going to be recorded, so it will be able to take it at any stage. So that should be quite fun. So it's going to be what the F is all the foot biomechanics about. Because I was due to be here, UK, Spain, and had an invite to the States as well. But again, with no travel and restrictions, everything will have to be online now. And I'm sure you've been doing a lot of online evenings. There's been a lot. I'm sure there's been a lot from the States, and I know in the UK and Ireland it's been non-stop for. I was on last night. There was a prescribing course on, and there's been lots of diabetic and biomechanics and business talks and things. And I think we're going to have to go back in and help people again, because people are going to be worried again. The businesses are going to be sort of closing down again, and they're going to have to restart. Although one colleague I work with in Dublin, I mean, she's been so busy. She's looking forward to the month off. She's looking for another holiday.
That's good.
Yeah, because the practices we were working with and have been lucky enough to be able to work with over the last year or two, they were all able to cope with the first lockdown very well. They're all computerized, and they're all regularly keeping in touch with patients by regular email and text and classes and things. So a lot of those practices hit the ground even busier than they were before, and had the best June, July, and August. And colleagues in the States did as well. But other practices I know are going bust. The ones who don't have any business fundamentals really locked in, who are just running like I used to do, running a practice badly. These people are going out of business now. So it's quite odd. You've got practices that have never had a busier last couple of months, and other guys who this is going to finish them. So anybody wants to know how to run a business properly, let me know. Because I've done it a long time, very, very badly. And we've got a slightly better handle on it. But yeah, if you want to have your best next 3 months after this next lockdown, let me know, because if you make it that far, I mean, that's it. A lot of practices still didn't. I don't know. I don't know. We're never business people. I mean, you are you because you work for the university there and privately as well, or what way does it work?
Yeah, I have both. I have a private practice, and I
Yeah,
work for
you.
part-time for the Imperial College London Diabetes Center and the University of Sharjah. So but I do run I do have a small podiatry practice,
Yeah,
and yeah, I definitely agree with you that we're not business people, and running a business can be challenging, especially in a year like this year.
yeah,
I mean, for us, March, April, May were really tough, but luckily, once things reopened, we were able to get back to normal pretty quick. But it's always
it's gonna.
something that makes me anxious. You know, running a business is not easy. It's not easy, and I'm glad to see that you're helping people. That's the one thing we need the most as podiatrists. Is how to learn how
Well,
to run a business. It's not
well,
easy.
this is the thing. I mean, there was this is what made me scratch my head. The the diabetes evening, the biomechanics evening with a guest on would be nearly 100 people on it, 80, 100 people. A business evening would have 30 or 40 people. It was like, you do realize when we get to whatever next is going to happen, that biomechanics course is not going to help your business. But anyway, so yeah, I was nearly talked back in, as you said, I've retired, but I was nearly talked back into taking over a couple of practices that some guy was letting go in Dublin. Quite good practices, but the heart's not in it anymore, and he can't afford it, so he's just letting them go.
Oh,
Other people, well,
it's
he
a
was looking,
shame.
wanted to sell them for far too much money, and what's happened is that local people, other practices, have just picked up all his business for free. Yeah, because he left it
Yeah,
too long, and he thought he was going to get, and he was holding out for, and the patients just all ended up going elsewhere.
and now it's worthless.
Because guess what? He hadn't kept in touch with him. He hadn't even hadn't even phoned one patient since the close down in July or
Yeah.
August. We're like, what? You haven't even spoken to all those people you saw in March who you'd scheduled for later on, and you haven't phoned them or texted them or emailed them? What are you doing? That's why his business has just evaporated. Yeah.
Yeah.
And all
Yeah.
people have picked it up. So I mean, yeah, business fundamentals are really easy, and it's very, very simple. If I can do it, it's very simple. Um, well, it is. I said I ran practices really badly in London and here for a long time, and got to the stage where no money, really busy, so decided uh, I needed to change things because I was working far too hard and earning nothing, uh, and completely changed my life.
Hmm.
Uh, I was able to do stuff like Special Olympics. I was able to take a week off and go and do Special Olympics. I was able to go on sale. I was able to, like, improve my practice, improve the service to the patients. Just a few simple business fundamentals uh, that can be added in makes a whole world of difference, and completely changes your practice. Means the practice is working for you rather than you working for
Yes.
the
Yeah.
practice.
Yeah. To get to that stage is not easy.
Yeah, no, it takes time, but I mean, there is help out there. I mean, I've had coaches. I've had 3 or 4 business coaches over time. Uh, I mean, anybody does, and anybody doesn't need a coach. Let's get back to Ramesh and the tennis. Does Rafa Nadal have a coach? He does. Does Rory McIlroy, who's going to play the golf in a couple of weeks, have a coach? He does. Do all those baseball players have coaches? Yeah, shit. The coach is standing here shouting at him.
Yeah.
What which is coming? He is a coach. Who's hitting for the Mets at the moment?
Yeah.
Does he have a coach that can
Yeah.
see him,
Yeah.
that tell him which
Yeah.
pitch is coming? Of course he does. And people
Yeah.
are going, why do I need a coach? Why do I need help? Because people know how to do things better than you. I can help you.
Yeah.
Uh, Yeah, and the coaches are being the coach. American football coaches are calling plays from what they see on the field happening in real time,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
and
And
a lot of
they have the coordinators who are the assistant coaches
yeah,
sitting high
oh,
up in the stand so they can
yeah,
have an eagle eye
yeah,
on, yeah, yeah,
reviewing the
which
plays,
you cannot see when you're in the game. Yeah.
rooting for guys
Same
out.
thing. Yeah.
So yeah, when you're in practice and when you're really busy and you're treating a full list, you can't see all the options. You
Yeah.
need somebody else to shine a light on and show you very simple tweaks and improvements. Where you change practices around within like 3-4 weeks, a couple of very small changes can make a huge difference over
Yeah.
over a,
Yeah.
over a long time. So people go, why do I need a coach? Everybody else has one, multiple coaches.
Absolutely.
I mean, I was
Absolutely.
listening to one of the Irish. She's a rower. She's a rower. Yeah, she just blitzed them at the World Championship. She is her ordinary coach, or strength and conditioning coach, her psychologist, her nutritionist, like 4 or 5 people in her team to get her onto the start line to perform. You're not going to do that on your own. You need help.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, it's all available. I mean, there's so much on YouTube and stuff. And again, if anybody's been listening to me since March, there's loads of. We had a regular every Wednesday morning. We had a break this week. We're back in again next Wednesday. That's been a business chat every Wednesday morning, right back through from the fundamentals, leadership, planning, uh, uh, all sorts of things that we've covered every Wednesday. A lot of the chats that I've done like this have had a business as well as a biomechanics podiatry component. So there's a whole back catalogue. I mean, there's a couple of simple books like that Michael Gerber book, The E-Myth, How to Run a
Yeah.
Successful Practice. Let me just grab it if anybody wants to see it. I mean, I read this again, so it changed the way I look at things. So it's in the stack somewhere. Where is it? We have it. And there's so many online resources. I just can't find it now. Oh, here we are. The E-Myth revisited. Why most small businesses don't work and what to do about it. It would probably take you about an hour or two to read. I'm a quick reader. Well, I skim. I've got stacks of books that I need to read. But there's all the help out there. There's so much online stuff, and everybody's like, "Oh, where do I start?" Doesn't matter where you start.
Yeah.
Something. Because that's what I
Definitely valuable. Definitely valuable. Yeah. As someone who runs a small business, it's and things keep changing. The game keeps changing. The online marketing changes. The methods of contacting patients and procuring patients and referrals. Things are always on the move. One definitely needs a constant updating and keeping
yeah,
up.
yeah, 10, 15 years ago when I first opened in London, 20 years ago or whatever, 25 years ago, was you put it into the golden pages, the yellow pages.
Yeah.
That was it. You had a couple of GP referrers, and that was it.
You're all set.
You're all good to go forever.
Yeah,
The
yeah,
game
yeah.
has changed now. People are online. Anybody look my foot pain? I've got a sore foot. Where's the nearest sore foot fixer near me? And that's what the new game is. You got to be all over social media. That you got to be where your patients are.
Yeah.
Your patient demographic is young, sporty people. They're probably on Instagram or TikTok or things. If they're slightly older, they're probably on Facebook. If they're business orientated, they're on LinkedIn. That's where you find your patients. Anybody think they are, the next time you're walking down to the school or picking little Jimmy up from soccer practice, and all the mums or the dads are there on the sideline, they're all on Facebook or they're all on Instagram, and that's where your practice has to be. Otherwise, and there's some
you don't
people,
exist.
Yeah, some people doing unbelievable things on TikTok and on Facebook, all over the place. But videos, just gonna put, and people are always like, "What are you going to say?" Somebody contacted me earlier on and said, "Our listing for our meeting today didn't really describe what we're going to plan to say." Sami and I haven't talked what we're planning to say. Well, it may show. Maybe it looks like I haven't scheduled anything, but this is it. People over worry about what am I going to say to the patient every week or every couple of weeks or twice a week in a newsletter or an email. I don't know. The 5 things you could be doing without foot pain this autumn in Dublin.
Yeah.
Walking in comfort on the beach in the UAE this weekend.
Yeah.
That's what you talk to them about. They don't need another Freiberg's article. They do not need another Achilles tendon rehab blog. That's start talking to them. As I said, probably on one of the first calls back in March when we first started the lockdown, just pretend an aunt is on holiday and phones you with a foot problem. She's tripped over or she's got a black nail. And what would you do with your aunt? If she rings from New York, Sami, today, you just tell her a bit of information. Keep it simple. And that's what you do with your patients. You talk to them like you would talk to Auntie Mary or Auntie Rose.
Absolutely.
That's it. That's how you talk to them. Don't overthink it. And people do not need to know any technical names or any things or all about the research. And they certainly don't give 2 shits what qualification you have or what your certificates on the wall say. They're not interested. Again, if anybody wants, I've been talking about this for quite a while. I mean, I did a talk in Sligo 3 years ago, just a couple of weeks ago. Talked all about this. Why does your patient value their hairdresser more than you? Why will they cancel their appointment? Because you're speaking to them, you're speaking Martian. They don't need to know about an ultrasound scanner or a PRP thing. They just want to know, can you fix my foot? I can. Let's make an appointment. And the patient journey now starts way before they make the appointment. I think they're recognized. There's going to be about 8 or 10 touch points before a person's going to pick up the phone or email you. Back again to the latest purchase that you made.
Yeah, they're looking you up. They're trying to see who.
What's the last high ticket item you bought, say, Sami, for $1,000? New TV or a camera or something for the kids? Did you research it?
You research it quite a bit.
You did. Same way as somebody's going to come and see you, they're going to research it. The very little drive past, Sami's name's on the door on the thing. I'm going to call him. I've got a foot pain. People find you on Facebook, look at your website, have a think about it. It's just the same decision that everybody else is making. Again, anybody out there has just spent $500 or $1,000 on a TV, a thing, the new iPhone that's coming. And don't tell me there's no money, because there is. Because there's going to be a queue for the new iPhone 12. Do people need it? Is it better than the old one? No, they want it. They're going to spend money. There's a local coffee shop guy. I think I said last week, he was selling bags of coffee at £82. I don't know what that is in dollars. Probably about $95 or $100 a bag for coffee. I checked with him. Oh, it's only for 250 grams. So that means that coffee is £320 sterling a kilo. Wow. And guess what? He sold 8 bags last week. And you're trying to tell me people don't have money? Yeah. There'll be new iPhones. There'll be new...
You just got to know how to do it.
Well, but this is it. People want to spend money. See, what happens is they turn up in your practice and all they hear is blah, 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 blah. 8 weeks, surgery, orthotics, and here's the bill of 1,000 to 10,000, whatever it is for surgery in the UAE.
Yeah.
And when they turn up at a practice here, all they hear is blah, blah, blah. 500 quid for a pair of orthotics, some PRP or an ultrasound scan. And they all would go, oh, right, okay. And then they decide not to do it or do it. Again, it's just how you talk to patients, and how they value it. And they can, as long as they can see the value in it.
Honesty, it's all about honesty. All right. Patients want you to be down to earth, show that you understand what they're all about, and be honest with them. I sometimes, if I if I am unable to handle a case, if it's, I tell the patient, here, I'll recommend someone else. This is above my pay grade. I'm totally honest that there's no need to, yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely.
unlike your colleague who scanned that guy and took off his nail 2, 3 times and did all that stuff and billed him for it and still didn't fix him. But
Yeah,
that person who goes, "Oh, I didn't really expect I was going to have to spend $1,000 on a pair of orthotics and stuff."
yeah,
This weekend, guess what they're doing? Out buying a new iPhone, out buying something more
absolutely.
rubbish in the shops.
Yeah,
That's what credit cards are for, overdrafts and loans. Or people borrow to go on holiday. People borrow to buy cars. They borrow to buy televisions. They borrow to buy everything.
yeah.
Should borrow to buy their health care. Because health insurance wise in the UAE, are a lot of people covered health insurance wise?
Yeah, more majority, I guess, 99%.
Because they're
All employers have to provide health insurance. Not all insurers cover our services, obviously. It's a lot of cash and paying claim, etc.
yeah.
But yeah, it's not straightforward when it comes to our services as far as insurance is concerned. It's quite a challenge, to say the least.
Well, because that's also we're doing, helping a couple of practices in the US and also a couple of colleagues in London to pivot away to get away from copay, to get out of network into more cash
Yeah,
pay practices. And
yeah,
we're able to do that with some of the practices. Again, that doesn't happen overnight. But I think my friend Wayne in London, that we've been helping over the last year or so, he's come down from about a 65% insurance load down to, I think we're down to about 25 or 30% now. Because I'm not going to say what he said about the insurance companies, but they are limiting. You have to submit now. I want to treat this patient with X, Y, and Z, and it's going to take this and that. The insurance company will contact you back again and say, no, we're not paying for this, we're not paying for that, and we're doing this. So it's the
yeah.
insurance companies are now dictating the treatment program. What's that?
Absolutely, yeah. Sometimes I'm thinking, why don't I told the patient, why don't I send you to your this doctor at the insurance company and let him treat you?
Yeah, crazy. They're dictating it. They're supposed to be 30 days payment. I'm not going to mention the insurance company, but they're up to about 90 days payment now in London. Wayne would be in a lot worse position if we hadn't transitioned them out of network and into more cash pay business. And again, that's quite a straightforward process to do. People get worried. Oh, I'm not going to get insurance. You don't need them. Oh, Sammy's gone. You don't need the insurance companies. There is life outside insurance companies. Again, if you want to find out how to get out of network, to transfer to more a cash pay practice, let me know. So obviously technical Wi-Fi issues with Sammy. He's all over the technology normally. So I'm going to have to talk and fill a bit. Because we were going to go on and talk about, excuse me, the Special Olympics and things. So we'll see whether Sammy gets back on again. Excuse me, in a second. Let's just have a little break. And hopefully his Wi-Fi will kick in again. What are we going to talk about? Oh, he's completely gone now. Oh, okay. So I'm just going to keep talking until he comes back on again. Maybe his kids have, they're playing Fortnite or something. So, okay. So to transfer out of network, it's a pretty straightforward process. Lots of physical therapy, lots of podiatry, dental practices have been able to make that transition. Again, it isn't going to happen overnight. There's certain fundamentals that need to be put into the business first of all, to get away from relying on external referrals from HMOs and from doctors and things. And Sammy's coming back again.
Sorry,
Hi, Sammy.
got disconnected there. Just the laptop charge finished. Sorry about that.
While you're away, I was just filling in and saying, a lot of practices have, and it's a lot of practices, physical therapists, dentists, podiatrists want to get away from the HMO, the cash pay, not relying on referrals within network. So, and how you do that is you set up your own referrals. You stop begging from referrals from doctors, because guess what? You can do that on Instagram and Facebook and social media without having to look after doctors. I stopped writing to doctors in our practices and asking for doctor referrals and buying them lunch and buying them Christmas presents about 8 years ago. Never wrote to them, never brought them out for lunch, never did anything with them. Guess what? When you do, they never refer anyway.
Yeah, true.
Yeah, never refer anyway. One of the doctors.
And I always say, if your service is valuable enough, patients will pay cash. If you make yourself valuable enough and present yourself well enough and do a good job, I guess patients will pay cash. Yes, patients will pay, and you're right. The money is there. The money is there.
Some doctors were good referrers into our practices. I mean, we worked within a couple of clinics. We sat on the floor. I mean, I made a quip to a patient one day. He was like, "You're quite expensive. You're more expensive than the GP next door." And I was like, "Yeah, of course we are. There's 6 of them. There's only 1 of me." Yeah, that was it. I was charging more than the GP because there's 6 of them. They're 10 a penny. There's only 1 of me. Let's go. But yeah, it was some of the GPs were really good referrers. Others would be like, they'd send you that crap that they couldn't fix, that they mucked around with for 6 months. There was one guy, I used to see him nearly every day. We had coffee together regularly. He referred me 2 patients in 15 years. 2 patients in 15 years. I saw his son and everything. His son got orthotics and all the family. 2 patients he referred, 15 years. He literally walk away. Do you think I bothered bringing him for lunch? No. Did I buy him coffee when he went out? No. Did he get Christmas presents from me? No. Wasting your time. Focus on where the business is. And the new game in town is social media, email marketing, Google AdWords, LinkedIn. Forget the doctors, forget the insurance companies, build an unbelievable business. And very, very simply, without any of that stuff, and get into cash pay. Because insurance, you think things are bad now, let's wait another 6 months or a year and see what's happening. Because
the impact of this thing is still to come. Yeah.
Well, you're okay in the UAE. You're just pulling it out of the ground. It's free. Just feels really work.
No, it's not. It's not that simple. No, that's a misconception a lot of people have. No, it's not that simple. People have to work hard for it.
No, it doesn't. It costs about $1.50 to $2 to stick it in a barrel. And the oil prices now, I don't know. It's free, and you got loads of it. So you'll be okay for a while. Yeah, that's why it gets right moving. Yeah. That's where I'm. So it's but it is free. It's just pull out, and the cost of production's not. Anyway,
a lot of people come here, even podiatrists from overseas, trying to start the business here, thinking that money grows on trees here. But no, you have to. The rules are the same like everywhere else. You have to, exactly like you've mentioned. You have to present yourself, market yourself. You have to do the right thing. It's exactly like everywhere else, and it doesn't matter that there is oil here. It doesn't matter.
Yeah, one of my superstars, Marie. Marie worked with us. Hi, Marie. If she's back in the west of Ireland now. Marie was in Dubai for 2 years, working for Margaret Dabbs. You know Margaret Dabbs?
Yeah. Yes, I know her.
Okay, so Marie was one of my superstars. She had 2 years. Yeah, she had a fantastic time. Learned loads. Thought it was just going to be painting nails and beautician stuff. Wasn't. Really, really good service. Unbelievable. She had a fantastic experience. Was able to use it in travel. So she enjoyed herself. And I had a couple of other colleagues who used to. I mean, well, of course, there was a couple of UK guys were sort of flying in and out and doing things in Dubai. Were you aware of them?
Yeah, I know Nazar from London. He he comes in, but he hasn't come since the pandemic.
So Kaiser,
He's the only one I know. I don't know about anyone else.
the guy Abid Hussein, Abid, hi Abid, he was there for a couple of years. He used to come in and out. But yeah, Kaiser's quite a. You've met Kaiser?
Yes, I know him very well. I even
I've met him.
scrubbed in with a couple of surgeries with him in London Bridge Hospital. So yeah, I know him well. I know him well.
Yeah, I've met Kaiser a couple of times. He's quite friendly with a friend of mine, Gavin.
Yeah.
So yeah, those guys. Yeah, so well, again, that's what Ramesh advised me at the end of August was probably if you don't have to travel to the UAE, probably best not to.
Yeah.
So I was hoping to see Claire and play some air-conditioned tennis and go sailing with Ramesh, but you know, we'll do that in the new year. And of course, well, and again, I had hoped to get to the UAE to Abu Dhabi for the Special Olympics last year. Because you were involved, obviously, on quite a high level there as the medical side of things. Because if anybody isn't aware, with piggybacking with the Special Olympics, there's the medical side of things. So the Fitter Feet program, which you obviously
the Fit Feet program. I was appointed the clinical director for the Fit Feet program for the World Games, and was one of the best experiences of my life. It's a life-changing experience, definitely. The World Games were amazing.
7,000 athletes, 170 countries. Ireland had 91 Special Olympians going. And I had been in Limerick. We had the qualifiers for the World Games were in Limerick the year before, and I was there with. It was great. It's always a great experience. It's fantastic.
Yeah,
truly special.
Absolutely, yeah, absolutely. Special Olympics is something I will always be involved in. I will always look for games. We'll always arrange local games here, regional games, etc. But I'm looking forward when travel opens up again to go and participate in an event somewhere in Europe, in the US. It's definitely changed my life. It's amazing.
Yeah, it has been. It's an amazing experience. And I say, yeah, well, as you said, when the Winter Games are in Sweden, did you say next year, early next year?
They were supposed to be, in February, but I don't know if they're going to go on.
Yeah,
I don't know with this pandemic. I don't know.
The qualifiers in Northern Ireland here were due to happen in March, and they were cancelled, obviously. So I don't know whether they're going to have to concertina everything in, but of course it'll be difficult for the athletes because they're training and they have to have programs and things. So and how long? Because of course the organization for the World Games in Abu Dhabi. I mean, when did you? I mean, it just didn't start.
We started 18 months prior, and we organized in 2018, a year earlier. We organized local games to prepare for the World Games. So we in March 2018 we ran regional games, Middle East games, and then a year later we were ready. Once we did that dry run, it prepared us quite well, and we had help. We had podiatrists from the US and from Europe who came in, who had a lot of experience with Special Olympics, who came in and helped us. So a lot of people. What amazed me is how many people volunteer and take time out of their practices to do this. Very impressive.
Yeah, but to say you've got to have your business fundamentals in your practice to allow you to be able to do that. We talked about that earlier. It allowed me to, if you want to take a week off, or I'm sure if somebody's coming from the States, they probably put a holiday onto the back end of it or before. It probably would have been a 10-day, 2-week trip. You can't do that if you don't have the business fundamentals in your practice.
Absolutely, yes, indeed.
And so. Yeah, of course, it would be difficult. Yes, I mean, there have been some evenings with the Special Olympics here, and we were talking with them to help to maybe that will happen this time when we get back in, because and that's going to be quite pertinent as well. How are all these athletes who are now being told that there's no football, Gaelic, other events between now and next year? training? What are they going to do to actually? Do they stop training now? Do they continue on? Does everybody eat lots and drink lots and have fun until Christmas and then start really heavy training again? Nobody knows. So we're going to have a couple of brighter minds on the strength and conditioning and international level to talk about what some athletes and general people need to do to be able to hit the court, the track, the race course next March, April, May, when new seasons start again.
Yeah.
And
there's no end in sight for this pandemic so far. One can't really predict when this is going to end.
It's changing every day, so that's going to be. I mean, I have worked closely before with a lot of ballet dancers. I think it is only the ballet dancers that I know. It's only in Munich that you can see live ballet and go to a show. I believe at the moment, everybody, all the other dancers that I know in New York, rest in the States and in the UK, they're not dancing in front of live audiences, but they are in the ballet in Munich. They have
so in Germany they have live audiences, huh?
Live audience. Janetta, she dances for the Munich Ballet. They just finished Giselle 2 weeks ago. They're starting with Swan Lake now. The season is progressing. But to say the skiers are starting next week in the World Championships, they're all out there.
And skiing can be easily social distanced. It's a sport. It's an individual sport.
Not ballet. And I'm not too sure whether the auditoriums are socially distanced in Munich for the live ballet. I know that the Royal Ballet in the UK, they're going to start to live stream all their performances. I don't know whether you caught my talk with Tom Novella back, I think, end of March, April. And I don't know whether you found this with some patients. Well, it's been a great time. He's had patients, and Pat Ruddy, my guy who's the Irish dance coach professional and used to dance for River Dance, they have had patients, and a lot of the physios and podiatrists I know, patients who now have had a lot of chance to have a complete rehab session, completely, yourself, athletes, dancers, things, they never want to stop. Tom has worked with people one lady who dances on Broadway, she's in her late 30s. He reckons she's just extended her career by another 5 years. She had some hip flexor issue that wasn't settling for years. 3-4 months of lockdown, let it completely settle, a full rehab program, extended her career. So it has been beneficial in some ways. That's happened with multiple dancers, with multiple runners. Yourself, everybody's carrying an injury. I've got my torn calf, and I thought I'd broken my clavicle. I thought I popped here when I was at jiu-jitsu on Monday evening. I put my hand out to fall, and I thought I'd broken it. It's okay. But this is the thing. They need to have that window to. So maybe this is the time to go again. If you didn't get your rehab done properly now, or before the last lockdown, maybe this will be the chance again. Yeah.
I
don't know. Well, of course, the baseball season is like, how many games do those guys play? A couple of hundred.
162, but this year they've only played 60 games because of the pandemic.
Yeah, but of course the American football only plays 3 months really. It's like 16 games, is it?
16
games. I mean, that's a very short season. So again, those guys are having to peak for 3 months and then taper and then build again. So American, those guys are, so what do they do in February, March, April, May, June, July? Get fat? Don't exercise? Or do they level? I don't know. I mean, this is the thing. It's again, as you say, it's something that's never happened before, and completely new and unique. So we're going to put a sort of
probably will cause a lot of overuse injuries.
Yeah, well,
and that was noticed in a lot of the sports in the US that were restarted. A lot of injuries because of the abrupt changes in schedules and habits of athletes. So
that's what I'd thought. But
a lot of ACL Yeah.
Yeah, because you don't have that dynamic control and ultimate sort of function that you would have had if you were keeping it all the way through. Uh, and again, Special Olympic athletes as well. I mean, again, social distancing. A lot of those local community groups aren't going to be able to be able to run their evenings and their training and things. So it's
Yeah, for us, any large gatherings are still not allowed. So we're able to work, we're able to go out and shop, but we're able to go to restaurants, but no, cinema is open, socially distant, but nothing,
cinema,
no theater.
cinema's been closed here. Restaurants are back to takeaway only.
Oh,
Uh,
wow.
yeah,
No, our restaurants are open. You could sit even without a mask. So even indoors, our restaurants are back open. Just the
hmm
tables are distanced. That's all.
not here. It's a yeah.
Wow, Ireland is quite strict, huh?
Pardon me.
Ireland is quite strict with
Well,
these.
I think 5 miles up the road in Northern Ireland, which is in the UK, even though it's part of the same island, is it's a shit show. The numbers have been like up huge numbers. So they're going to have to lock it down. Some type of circuit break, apparently. I don't know. We'll see. Although the World Health Organization, I think yesterday said that lockdowns don't work and herd immunization is the way to go. But brighter minds in the UK government and Irish government decided no, this is the way we're going to go. I mean, I think
We gotta shut it down.
yeah, my brother's just back from Copenhagen. He went a business as normal. He was there in April to have a tooth implant done. He was scheduled to get it done in the UK. He lives near London in the end of March. The dental practice cancelled it. They actually phoned him up a week or so afterwards and asked him, did he want some advice? Unlike a lot of colleagues who just cancel patients' appointments and never bothered contacting them again, they kept in
Yeah.
touch. But he met his dentist in the supermarket a couple of weeks after, and the dentist said, we're not going to be doing anything till probably August, September. So Pete got on the internet and went to Copenhagen, spent a whole week in there at the end of April, just after Easter. Business as normal, sending me pictures of restaurants and tourist places, that it was normal. There was no lockdown. There's been no stuff. He went back 2 weeks ago for his checkup. Everything's normal. There's no lockdown.
Wow.
Business is closing. Concerts are on. Schools are open. Everything's normal.
Wow.
Go figure.
Yeah, it looks like the Scandinavians have it right. The Swedes also are doing well, I understand.
Yep. They've just decided that we're going to have a certain number of deaths.
Exactly.
Statistics are going to show, but I'll tell you what, we're not going to ruin people's lives, economies, theaters, sports stuff. This business is normal.
Yeah.
Yeah. Who knows? Somebody's in charge somewhere. Maybe we
Yeah.
need to move to Scandinavia or move to New Zealand. Well, fancy going to a live rugby game again. I mean, I've been to a couple of local rugby games on. The rugby season started here a few weeks back.
Hmm.
But
I like rugby as well. I like the World Cup and the Six Nations or something. Yeah.
they're supposed to be having some autumn internationals. I think Ireland are playing Italy, and are they playing England? Or no, they're playing Wales.
Okay.
But that's all going to be not like New Zealand. We're not going to be able to go. We're
Yeah.
going to watch it on TV. And I'd hope to do. I've been talking to friends, and I don't think ski season's going to happen in Europe. I'm talking to a colleague after this. I know girls in Toronto. Hi, Dorothy and Karen. Karen flies for one of the Canadian airlines. I think the Canadian advice is there's not going to be any snowbird trips to Florida this year, or where my Uncle Bernard and Auntie Anne go to, usually go to San Diego. The Canadian government's advice is no snowbird trips this year.
Wow.
That's millions of people aren't going to be making their 3 or 4 month trip to Florida or California, wherever the hell they go, UAE.
Yeah. And a lot of businesses will be affected. Yeah.
Well, yeah, ski season. I mean, I've got a friend who's just just set up a ski direct clothing equipment company. Not a good time because I don't think there's going to be a ski season in Europe. I was on to Bernard again. I don't know whether you saw the talk with Bernard back in April, May. I'd hoped to go and do a couple of months in Val d'Isere with Bernard. I've always wanted to go and make footbeds and realign skiers, improve their biomechanics, which Bernard does on the slopes, beside the slope. Treat it now, go and ski it for an hour, come back, adjust it, do that. I'd fancy doing that this year, but ski season may not happen.
Unless we see a drastic drop in numbers in November. A lot of people are predicting that we're going through the peak now and things may drop. Maybe. Who knows? Let's look at the bright side.
Yeah. Anybody wants to come and see me, I'm going to be in Val d'Isere from we're going to be there for 2 months. I want to improve my skiing as well. I've only ever have you skied?
No, haven't.
Skied?
Never.
I mean, skiing's one of those things that's the last run of the last day of the holiday is always the best, and you've cracked it, and then you don't go till the next year. So you need to go. You need to go and do a season, or at least you need to go and do like a 6 or 8 weeks. And hope you don't do your ACL or anything like that, because we definitely do about that. I say the calf slowed me down a bit, although I've been TRXing, using body weight exercises to build up, and that's helped the tennis when I've hit a couple of balls on the last couple of days, and it certainly helped my strength with the jiu-jitsu. And I was due to get my
how accomplished are you in jiu-jitsu? Is there a color, a belt color?
I only started 8 weeks ago because I had my hip replaced at the end of last year, so I was pretty incapacitated for sport and exercise for a number of years. And so I've been gradually building things up back to walking and walking and hill walking, and then tennis, and then build up the strength and conditioning enough to do some martial arts. And it's all about strength. And then I had the calf pull, but I knew that was in the post because, again, as you say, 6-8 weeks in, or 8-10 weeks of some new exercise, that's when ligaments and tendons and muscles. So thank God it wasn't my tendo Achilles. It was just the medial head of the gastrocs, about a 5 or 6 centimeter tear. Interesting thing was when I scanned the opposite, the good leg, it had a tear as well. I've been scanning. We should do some scan. I'm full of holes. I'm sure we all are. So I've been back this week just hitting from balls and not doing any running because I'm progressing on to my single leg and more dynamic stuff over the next 3 or 4 weeks. But I'm just due to get my gi, my suit for taekwondo or jiu-jitsu. Now we're going to have lockdown again, so I'm not going to be able to go. So it was good. I got 6 weeks of when I was able to not nearly throw up after about an hour session, and then I did my calf. So I went back at the end of on Monday and nearly threw up again at the end of the hour session. I went on Tuesday. I'm going to go tomorrow, I think, if we're allowed. Maybe my suit will arrive, and then we're going to have to sit around for 4 weeks and lose all my strength and conditioning.
Wow.
Again. So, I mean, that's just me. I mean, I'm not an athlete or not somebody who's performing. So imagine somebody who wants to perform, and that has to happen.
So during these 4 weeks, you'll be able to go out shopping for groceries only, or how does it work?
Groceries, and I say I live 2 minutes walk, 1 minute walk from the tennis court. So I don't think we're going to be able to do any group tennis, but I'll be able to go and hit some balls. We can still sail. It was interesting last week. I was in the rib helping with the sailing. The sailing. I'm going to go sailing this weekend. We can practice some things, but we're not allowed to race against each other. That's against the rules. Even though you're in a boat here and I'm in a boat 200 yards away on the water, so the boats aren't allowed to. We're allowed to train, but again, that may change. And I think we're waiting for Tennis Ireland to tell us what the new things will be. But it's an empty tennis court. I live a minute away, and I think if we're into full lockdown, surely I'll be able to go and hit a tennis ball.
Well, you
Uh,
never know. You never know. They may say the virus lives on rackets.
mm, yeah. Well, that was the thing this morning because when I played some this morning. There was another group, and yeah, you were thinking they're serving and then they're picking up the ball, and then one of the ball came over and I touched it and I threw it back, and I don't know.
Could it be that easy? This, I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. Smarter people know, I guess.
It's a whole weird world. I did wash my hands after. But yeah, no, it's given me a chance to do other things. I've never been quite strong upper body, so TRX, this
Yeah,
these
yeah,
are
yeah, absolutely.
exercises hanging on the back of the door over here. So I've been building up, again. Yeah, I've got to keep busy.
Good, good.
So it's just a strange world. Well, you've given me hope. Val there, second weekend. I'll go after my birthday in February. Bring the kids out at half.
It has to. The numbers have to start going down. The numbers have to start. It's
Really?
just a matter of when. Even in April and March, it peaked and then it went down. And it's the nature of any viral respiratory infection. It's always a bell-shaped curve. So it's a matter of when. When will it go down? And
Yeah.
probably looks like we're at the peak. Hopefully, we're at the peak and
Okay.
things will slow down soon.
Great. I'll get my skis. Yeah. So Bernard and Val there.
I have been wrong before, by the way.
And I'm going to talk. Well, it's not a live call, but I'm going to talk to a colleague in the UK. She worked in Whistler in Canada. Sophie, we're getting her on in a couple of weeks in preparation for ski season. Sophie worked on the slopes, like I'm hoping to do, in Whistler for a couple of years, and again using in-shoe pressure to look at foot beds and stuff, and skiing's all about alignment. The better aligned you are, the better mechanically functioning you are, the quicker and the better you ski. Yeah. And Bernard, again, back in the top, Michaela Schifrin. She's American. She's only 25. She's like a double Olympic champion. She wins everything. She's injured at the moment. She did injury, but she is it. She's mechanically pretty much unbelievably good. And she's skis like a bat out of hell, and she's multi-discipline. There's different disciplines in skiing: giant slalom,
Yes, sir.
downhill. She's going to win them all, and so. But those guys, I mean, when Bernard was when we were talking to Bernard, I mean, the guys were training on the glacier in France in April, May. All the Americans team, all the Austrian, Swiss team. I say world championships. And the world it starts next week, I think. Maybe I've missed the start. So there's still lots going on, but yeah, it's continually evolving and changing. And so, how often do you get back to the States, Stanley?
About once a year.
Okay.
Once a year we get back. We go more to the UK. I have my two older children are at university in Scotland, so we usually go and see them there. Sorry?
Where are they in Scotland?
In Dundee.
Okay, yeah, it's a nice town. One of my dentist friends trained there. Of course, it's pretty much full lockdown. I know Sarah Jane and a couple of other colleagues, again, just restarted to reopen practices, and it's all been locked down.
No, I don't think they've locked down. No, just bars shut down at 10, but I don't think Scotland has locked down, has it?
Practices have locked down. Restaurants have locked down. Yeah, it's a show.
Wow.
So yeah, but again, let's not dwell on the stuff. So so you go to Scotland to get a bit of rain and a bit of grey, like here.
Yeah, we love it. We love the change, the green, the change in scenery. We haven't been now since last Christmas, and I love Scotland. I love Scotland. I love driving to St Andrews. It's beautiful. Yeah.
Let me just sort out this Instagram. Don't know why that kicked off, but and were they've just gone back then in the last few weeks?
Yeah, they're back there now because their learning is blended, so it's both online and some face-to-face. That may be interrupted soon, and they may go completely online. But for now, the University of Dundee is going blended and has not shut things down. Library's still open, and they're still having, I think, once a week face-to-face classes, socially distant. They've had a few outbreaks in Scotland. The University of Glasgow had an outbreak, I'm sure you've heard. St Andrews had an outbreak, but so far controlled. And university students are going to intermingle and mix, and
Yeah.
things happen. But
I was
you have
I,
to deal with it.
I was in Dublin last Friday week ago with my cousin Killian, who works as part of the Royal College of Surgeons in Ireland,
Yeah.
which have a huge amount of overseas students. They were really worried that they weren't going to have 420 students started 2 or 3 weeks ago, pretty much all overseas. They were worried that they weren't going to have, they said they didn't have one person deferred from the next couple of years, because I think students come from Malaysia, come from all over the world, do their first 3 years in Dublin, and then go back home.
Yeah.
And they're in Oman. I think they've got the Royal College of Surgeons of Ireland have they got a university in Oman? They've got somewhere in the Middle East, and they've got
I think Bahrain, I think.
Sorry. Yeah. So no students from anywhere in the world cancelled. They're all back in Dublin. 420 started this year. And they were really worried, but that's happening as normal. But of course, well, I won't give you the inner secrets of it. Well, they say they were really worried because I mean it's a huge that's a huge boon to the economy in Ireland.
Yeah.
You just imagine 400 students from all over the world. Well, they've got to live, they've got to eat, they've got to travel, they've got to socialize. Also, the fees that they're paying to the Royal College of Surgeons. Imagine 400 people who haven't started this year. I think, Killian, the script is we need the plane full. We don't want to leave with the plane half full this year. We're back to planes and flying again, Sami. But that was it. I mean, it's huge. Imagine you didn't have 400 people, and that whole trickle down. That's just one of things. So all online, as you say, blended learning. Podiatrists here and back in the States. I know that we were talking with a couple of people in Chicago and things. And is there any, because everybody has to go away from the UAE and train and come back. Yeah, so there's no podiatry training, no podiatry school there. So I mean, do you get students on placement, or would you get people sort of coming there, or is there any link ups with like the New York podiatry school, or any of the other Temple podiatry, or any California, any links?
No, it's too far for students to come in. Some come from the UK on their own, but no, we get medical students who are training here in universities in the UAE come in and do a few weeks with us, especially those we get endocrinology fellows who want to know about the diabetic foot. So they rotate with us for a few weeks. But internationally, no, we don't have anything set up.
Yeah, it's the opportunities there, and
it is indeed. Yeah, it is.
Yeah. So because I know that the Galway School of Podiatry, which is the school in the west of Ireland, they have a link up with the New York school. So 1 or 2 students actually go out there, and I think some of them have actually spent a year or so there after they're qualified. But that's a good.
When I was a student in New York, we had Spanish podiatrists coming in and do a year with us. I remember from Spain.
Yeah,
and Barcelona, I think.
Yeah. We've talked to a couple of the Spanish guys, and so and again, this world now and Zoom and these sort of live things, and it does help to shrink the world down. Of course, you were on our call last week on International Podiatry Day, and where were we? We were in Brazil and Chile and UAE and Italy and Ireland and Australia. Tyson got out of bed very thankfully nice and early. It makes the world a lot smaller.
Indeed. Yeah, indeed.
So tell us. So how can people find you? You're based in Abu Dhabi. So again, just let people know they can just Google.
So I'm based at the Imperial College London Diabetes Center in Abu Dhabi. And
Yeah.
I also have a clinic in Dubai called the Chiropody Center. That's a private
Yes.
clinic. So those are the two places I'm based out of.
And then, of course, obviously, then for the Special Olympics, that's just, I mean, you'll just be able to Google you through that as well.
Yes,
So
yes, yes.
you're still involved with the in the UAE, yeah.
Yes,
With
yes,
the
we do webinars still, and um, the uh, the World Games have left quite an impact. So there's still the Special Olympics UAE as an organization is still
yeah,
very much active, but they're
yeah,
unable to organize events yet, but very
yeah.
much active. Yes.
Yeah. Well, of course, we had the World Games in Ireland, Dublin. I can't remember what year that was, and that was again a phenomenal success. So, yeah, Special
Mm.
Olympics just goes from strength to strength. Can't wait to get back to with the special athletes again. So,
Yeah.
Sami, that's great. Thanks very much for having a chat. You don't go anywhere for a second, so we'll just sum up. So, I'm Justin Blake. Has been Sami Tabib from the UAE. Again, anybody wants to find me anywhere on social media, you want to go, I'm starting my biomechanics course. That what the F is all this foot biomechanics stuff about simplifying biomechanics. If you're in private practice and want help, you want to know what's happening. If you want to transition away, get out of network, get away from GP referrals into more cash pay businesses, let me know. We can always help you with that. And this is quite simple to do. Just taking the first step is the thing. So, Sami, it's been great. We'll talk again soon. And so you don't go anywhere, but we'll say cheerio to
Thank you,
everybody.
Justin. Thank you for having me. Thank you. I enjoyed it.
Later. Thanks.